Today we're going to take a closer look at the Osmo Action 6 and why I think this is the best action camera on the market. And the funny thing is, it doesn't have anything to do with the camera itself. It's all because of this, the DJI Mic 3. Okay, hear me out. Let me try to explain. No, this is not gonna be an in-depth review of either the camera nor the microphones, but I will try to show you in depth how I use it, how I connect everything, and why this works so well for me. And in general, all action cameras today are equally bad or equally good, if you like. And I think it's important to stress that quality content are more than just high quality in picture frames. It's all about the complete package, and the audio helps elevate that in a whole nother level. And especially with all the wind noise that comes when you mount a camera in front of your face. Just listen to this clip. And now listen to the clip where I connected the microphone. Let me show you on the camera itself how I set it up, how I connect my microphones, and then I'll show you some practical example of what the difference are. First thing I do when I turn on the camera is to go into the resolution and frames per second. I choose 4K 16:9 because that is easier to edit afterwards. I have 50 frames per second, but I also have the rock steady on and I have natural wide. I go into the Pro menu, and if this is not on, just push the Pro button, and then you have the exposure and the audio. I go into exposure, and here I put the ISO range from 100 to 1600. 1600 is a little bit grainy, but I rather have a grainy footage than micro jitter footage. I also put the EV compensation to -7 because I know action camera has a tendency to blow out highlights. You go up to the top on the left corner and you push the shutter. And from here you can set the range to 1/200 to 1/8000. And the reason why I do this is that I don't want the shutter speed to be below 1/200 because that will introduce micro jitter to the footage. And on the Osmo Action cameras, that is absolutely horrific. It's much worse on the DJI cameras compared to the GoPro cameras. And that is just because of the digital image stabilization. And this is also the reason why I choose 50 frames per second instead of 25 frames per second. I'm in a pole region because you have more frames every second of footage. So that will reduce or lower the micro jitter a lot. I have the white balance on 5600, that is normal daylight. I keep that on 5600 in most cases. If it's really overcast, I can put it up to 6000 or 6500. But just leave it at 5600. And on the color, I choose D-Log M 10 bits, and the color recovery mode is just to see on the camera itself how the image will look when you finished editing it. Yeah, so I keep color recovery on. I have a fixed variable aperture because this thing with the aperture thing is just a gimmick on these new cameras. I really thought it would be better than it is, but I've done a lot of testing. It doesn't do crap without interfering with the shutter speed. I have the stabilization on daily, not on sport, because sport will take away the motion blur. So daily has worked good for me. If you have any experiences with sport that is better, please let me know. And I have the image adjustment, the texture and the noise reduction to -2 on both because I do this in post-production myself. I don't want the camera to interfere with the video I get out of it. And now the camera is good to go. This is my auto setting. So every time I start and stop my camera is with the record button on top. And I also have ND filters I use when it's sunny outside, and that will also affect the image, like sunglasses. I have my own video just for ND filters if you're interested in that. But now the magic starts. The DJI Mic. You need to connect the microphone. When it's in the box, it is connected to the receiver and other transmitter inside the box. But if I want it to be connected to the camera, I need to double press the connection button, and the light changes to blue as a Bluetooth mode, and now you see it's connected. You can see the green bar on top of it. And now I can also go into the Pro menu. I go into the audio, and here I can choose different settings. I want the channel to be stereo, but I also want the transmitter gain to be minus 12 decibels, because this microphone can easily clip, especially where you place it outside your backpack or wherever on your bike, or if you do it in the helmet. You want the gain to be as low as possible. No noise reduction, and the voice tone is regular. You can choose rich or bright, whatever suits your voice best. I just keep it on regular. If you have struggle connecting your microphone, you can go into the settings, and then you can find wireless mic, and you can connect it here. You can put on low cut filter, but there's also loop recording is some setting I have on. But the most important part is also put on 30-bit float recording. This will make the audio much better, and for people who know what it is, it's more like a RAW file instead of a JPEG file if you take photographs. Take off auto power off. I don't want the microphone to turn off. That is an important setting as well, because this I want to be on in my backpack all the time. I will show you some clips of that. It's just a matter of connecting the microphone. The receiver and transmitter is connected, but you double press on the connection button. And to double check this now, that the microphone and the camera is connected, you can see on top of the screen that the green indicator for the volume is there. So now it's just a matter of finding a good spot for this to be placed in the backpack, so when I ride it's not interfering with all the wind noise. Now, I just leave the microphone on at all time, because it's so fast to connect to the camera. So every time I press the shutter button, it just takes a fraction of a second before they connect. So the battery on the microphone as well lasts almost the whole day, but I make sure to change it if I have a long riding days. And now the microphone is connected to the camera. If I want it to be connected to the receiver in the box again, I just double press the connection button again. It disconnects from the camera, and now it's connected here again. You can see it here. And this makes it so easy to just use on the camera and as well as the action camera. And when this runs out of battery, I just change it at lunch or later with the next one, and I have 3 or 4, maybe 5 charges in this case alone, so you have a ton of battery life. I did try to mount the microphones on the outside of my backpack as well. That made the sound a little bit more clear, more in tune with the environment. But I actually prefer the more muffled sound, especially when you put music on it. This is still an ongoing process of testing where the best microphone location is. I have a waterproof backpack, so having it inside the top compartment there makes it much easier when it rains, so you have a consistency of great audio when you're out riding. If you have better ideas, please share them in the comments below. So far, I'm going to test a little bit more before I'm satisfied. Another thing that is also under testing is to connect Runa's microphone to her camera and one inside the helmet, and I will do the same with my microphones and see if we can capture better audio from the cardio intercom as well. Here are some examples of how fast the microphone connects to the camera. From I push the shutter button on top until the camera detects microphone in my backpack. In some cases it goes up to 3 seconds, but in most cases it's just a matter of seconds before it connects. If you do vlogging style video or you are used to talk a lot to the camera, you need a second microphone connected inside the helmet just to get a good representation of the sound. Of course, the only thing that doesn't pick up very well is when I walk around like this and try to talk to the camera. So you need to be a little bit more aware of that. This is one example where the audio becomes way too muffled because it's so far away from my mouth when I'm talking. And I just need to point out, there is no right or wrong when it comes to this. Get out there, find out what spot on the bike is best for you and the audio you like, and try and figure out, because if you ride really hard off-road, the microphone can be bouncing around inside the pocket and that will ruin the noise, the sound for you. So keep that in mind. All this is just general tips that has worked really well for me, that I'm really happy with. Again, I can't stress enough, all these different action cameras has fantastic footage online, but they can be really hard to dial in to get the perfect sweet spot, and all the really good footage is in controlled environments. But for general use, the footage is mediocre at best, but as long as you add better audio on it, it will transform the footage in a much better way. With that said, I think this is all I got for you guys this time around. Now I'm gonna head out, enjoy finally the good weather we have here in Norway, and see if I can make a little bit more riding footage. I have a trip coming up, but more on that later. Take care, stay safe, I'll see you in the next one.